everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Authentically Naturale.
On today's episode, we're going to be talking about societal timelines, how young people get wrapped up in them, the pressures that could bring, stressors that could allow, but also some triumphant moments as well. Okay.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, so first I think we should set the stage of what our timeline looks like. Like, what have we been told of what a timeline is? I kind of want to just put it like somewhere down here so somebody can know, like, age-wise, where should you be in our mind? Like, what have our parents instilled us in saying, like, by this age you should be?
Yes.
Okay.
So by the age of 23, you should have your degree. By the age of 25 to 26, you should be in a relationship. By the age of, this is unrealistic, at the age of 28 to 29, you should be married. And somewhere along the line, you need to have some kids within 33, and then 35, you need to be financially successful. And by the age of 40, you should still be working. And 50, you should retire.
Okay. So for me, 16, job, you getting a job.
We start at 16? I didn't know we started at 16.
Well,
Go
that's
ahead,
just my
keep
first
going.
major life event. Like,
I was just saying like a general timeline.
Yeah, I'm about to
So
go
you
through
want-
a timeline.
Wait,
No,
yours?
No, like what I've been told about a timeline.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. So 16, you get a job.
Yep.
18, you going to college.
Okay.
22, 23, you graduate.
Yep.
You start your career at 24.
Yep. Which is continue.
Okay. And then by 26, 27, you're engaged in a relationship, something like that.
Something like that.
And then by 30, you're married. You could be having a bun in the oven by 30. And then you have your kid by 35,
Yeah.
37. You've reached that. Okay, I'm good in my career. Like,
Yes.
I've reached the pinnacle and I'm good here.
Yeah.
You know, by 37. And then you work until you get old and gray. You send your kids off to college, and then you
I guess you live like
retire
that
and sit there with your significant other,
until you die.
and you die around 90.
That's not right.
And you retire.
It's crazy.
62.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. And now that you stated it, just looking at that timeline, it's not realistic. So much takes place within your 20s, your 30s. Like, all of that stuff takes place. Because, see, my timeline was, okay, I'm getting my degree. For some reason, I thought I'd be working at this major PR firm in New York. I don't know why I thought that. But major PR firm in New York. And then I was going to, before I met my significant other, I wasn't going to get married. I was just going to have a dog, and I was going to be living in a penthouse, and I was just going to be doing that. But then when I got my significant other, I said, oh, okay, like I really love him, so I want to get married. And then I was like, okay, so I want to get married at 25. But I just don't, it was crazy. Because now I look at it and I'm like, at nowhere, at shape, form was I ready for that at 25. Like, that's intense.
It is intense, and I do feel like, I don't know. Well, okay, I do know like why that timeline has come about, because like that's what our grandparents had done, and you know, like they had got married right out of high school, basically. You know what I'm saying? And so
or just early having kids.
Yeah, they're having kids early. And my mom was 30 when she had me, and so, but she had been married for years before that. But they didn't have kids like me until she was 30. So
see, my mom was 20. It was like my grandmother was 16. My grandmother was, one of my grandmothers was 16. The other grandmother was late 20s, and my mom was early 20s. So it was kind of like this back and forth of. So yeah, that's true. Oh my goodness.
And I feel like the idea of your life has to look like everyone else's.
That's true.
Like, you have one career.
You base it off of that. You do.
Yeah, you have one career, you get married, and you have kids, and that's that. Like, those are the highlight moments of your life.
Yeah.
And for me, personally, I don't like that. I don't know why that has, like, growing up, I have never been like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get married.
Yeah. And I would say now, like, so many more people are reclaiming their time. Like, you're seeing people still flourishing in their 40s. Like, you know how, like, you used to could look a certain age. I don't even know what that even means. but for some reason you could be like, okay, you like in your 30s, you like in your 40s. People are defining that now, and people are having kids in their 40s. People are flourishing in their 40s, in their 50s. Like, people are still able to run marathons in their 60s. Like, life and timelines, I feel like things are just like floating away. Like, so many people are redefining their goals, their timelines, like their rules, what they want to do. And I feel that way. I do. But I just know there was pressure on my timeline because I wasn't working in what I wanted to do. And now that I think about it, I'm like, wow, like this has definitely opened my mind to other perspectives working in higher education. And I like it. Like, I never thought this was never like a choice of, oh, I need to do this. I'm so set on this. But I had to stop and be in the moment. And that's another thing. We don't live in the moment. It's like, we'd be like, oh, okay, like, we're going to be here, we're going to do this, but we're not thinking about in this moment. Like, in this moment, how are you feeling? Like, this is the last time you're going to feel like this in this moment, at this age, on this day. And I don't think we think about that. So I just started thinking about it this year. So,
and I feel like for those who may be feeling pressure, like we have felt pressure,
absolutely.
Take this moment and really like reconsider that, because no one is putting pressure on you, no matter how much you feel like they are. It's your mind doing double time and
absolutely.
really just overthinking the situation.
Absolutely.
Because I'm almost sure that, like, I have had to tell my mama, don't rush me with having kids, because I can't help you right now. You got a cat baby, okay? And that's it. And I just want you to be happy about cat right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
it's
it's nothing else I can do. Like, I'm not in a relationship, I'm not engaged, I'm not married, and I don't have like any of that. So
yeah,
I can't give you no children in the next 2 years. Like, that's just not gonna be a thing.
Yeah, and for me, I gotta be somebody's wife to have a child, because it's just so much. Like, and Kasey, you can attest to this, having a pet is a lot. Like, you got a budget for your pet every month.
And you got, like, if you go out of town, you got, what's your cat?
What's your dog?
What's your dog gonna do?
And see, that's the thing, like, your cat can survive, and my dog, I need, like, him with me. He won't survive on his own. Look at him, you see how he ain't gonna survive.
But it's okay.
He don't survive.
It's okay. So I do feel like us as women feel the pressure a lot more.
Oh my God. Yes. Nobody is telling, like, I think men probably feel it on the career side, because they feel like, oh my God, I need to be here at such a time. But they don't
provide and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I wish Cardell was here so we could like get his perspective, but he's not here with us today like he was with the last season.
He was so good.
Yeah, he was very I may call him. Can we pause this and just call him and see him? Okay. So in the meantime, in between time, we called Cardell, who was our camera guy last time. He works for the Transition marketing team, and or he's the co-founder. And so they're awesome. They help us with our social media, and usually he's here, so he's not here, and we just want his opinion, like, on this topic.
So good. Cardell, would you like to answer the question of how do men stand the pressures of a timeline, or do you all even have a timeline?
Yeah.
I feel like we do have a timeline, because it's like people are still going to ask us, when are you getting married? Like, when are you expecting kids? I think it's just a normalized question that grown-ups always ask, because even with me being a male, I can have kids until whenever I want to.
Yeah, y'all can
Whereas for like, I know women, like, you have a cutoff time. But it's like they still want to see you have kids and do all this different type of stuff. But I think it's more pressure on us of making sure that we got everything in line.
Gotcha.
Like, when are you going to buy your house? Like, when are you going to get everything to make sure that your family is straight? Because it's like, when we look at it, it's more of the stability of the situation. Because, like, as a man, you want to be that foundation that your family needs to be. So are you really financially stable enough to take on all these different responsibilities? And I really feel like that's where we are. And then even being in this millennial age range, it's kind of hard to pinpoint that now. Because now we're trying to figure out how to pay bills here, how to pay bills there, student loans, all this other type of craziness that pops up. So it's like now we stuck in this timeline of they say we need to do all this by a certain time frame, but it's like going back in the day when they used to do everything that they do. We can't do that nowadays. Times are completely different. So it's like it's just a timeline of making sure everything is straight in your life. And I think that's where men are really hanging at, because it's like the sooner you get older and older, when you don't get married as a man, they just saying, "Oh, he a player. He don't want to get married. He just want to play around."
Yeah.
No, he may not just found that special one.
Yeah.
So it's just like that's just where the mindset kind of be sometimes. It's just trying to find that security place in life, because that's where a man should be by the age of 30 or 35. Is that you should be some type of stable where you can actually film for a family or even be able to film for yourself and not have to depend on anybody else.
He said 30, 35, just like we said.
Yeah, 30, 35. But you know what's crazy? Like, because as women, we feel like, oh, we get the most pressure. But I'm pretty sure from a male's perspective, he feels like he gets the most pressure. So it's safe to say that there are different gender pressures that we get timeline-wise. And I just hope that we can, like, persevere through that and just, like, dispel that or disbarge it or whatever, because at the end of the day, we only get one life and we have to live it, and everything is not going to go as planned. I don't think nothing ever goes as planned.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what do you do? I mean, I'm pretty sure you didn't think you were going to be doing real estate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to be in higher education, so it's not our plan.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
So,
for sure. And I feel like if more people, like, not people in general, but like men and women come together, or like you and your significant other come together and say, hey, I don't want this specific timeline. I don't want to live a life like this. Like, I see my life like this. How do you see your life?
got you, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because many people know that I don't too much care to have kids.
Yeah.
So I make that very clear with everyone.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody, every old person that asks me when I'm having kids, I let them know I don't want to have kids. And if the Lord is like, oh, here you go, then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
But I don't just.
That's just not something that you talk about.
Yeah, and I make it very clear with them, like, hey, like, you're not gonna put your wants and desires on me.
Yeah.
Because I don't want the same thing that you want. I'm
Yes.
not saying that what you want is wrong or your timeline is wrong. It's just not me.
Yeah. I totally get that. Cordell.
Because another thing is too, is that people always gonna put a timeline on you. Because even like you say, when you get that significant other, then like you say, they're gonna be pressuring about when are you gonna have kids? When are y'all gonna start planning for this? When are you gonna start planning for that? It's like somebody's always gonna put on what you should be doing. But like you say, you have to go back and focus on what do I need to be doing and not what you feel like I need to be doing.
Yeah.
So like you said, you need to put it down to your preference of your life, of knowing your life plan and like going and working your plan and not letting nobody else dictate your plan.
Yeah.
That's true, because even like obviously with me, people always ask, when am I getting married? Because me and my boyfriend have been together for years, and it grew tiring. Now for me, obviously I have different, I've already, I know what I want, but I always tell people to stay out of my business. But there are, even with my married friends, like, they're always pressured, like, when are you gonna have kids? Okay, you got a kid. When you gonna have your second kid? When y'all gonna do this? When y'all
like, damn, you just asked for one, now I have one, and you got one, now you're asking for more. Chill out.
It's just always something.
It's always something. And I feel like it's not fair.
It's not.
And I feel like my piece of advice for if you feel like someone's pressuring you is just really be secure in what you want, what you feel you need, and go from there.
Yeah.
I don't know why I moved that couch so far away when it really wasn't in the way.
It's okay.
I thought it was gonna be.
It's okay, but let me say this too. When you're in a relationship with someone, it's always good to compromise too. So figure out that compromise and that middle ground. Compromise.
But you have to know where you're starting from first.
That's true. You gotta know.
To get to where the compromise is gonna be.
I
Otherwise,
agree.
you're just giving in.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Cardell, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, because like you say, compromising is the main thing. Because it's like when you're in a relationship or even with yourself, compromise with yourself. That's the biggest thing.
Ooh, that's
elaborate
If you
on
don't compromise with yourself, you're gonna be stuck in some foolishness trying to make somebody else's dreams happen.
Ooh.
Facts.
But if I stay on my own path, knowing, okay, by this age, I need to do this. Because it's really all predicated on, they see that, okay, like now, I just turned 26. Now they're thinking, okay, this is the ideal time to get married. This is the ideal time to get a family started, all that different type of stuff. But that's not in my plan. My plan is to make sure that my business is successful by the age of 30.
Crazy.
By the age of 30 is me having my own house by the age of 30. So
Don't
it's
forget to call me when you're ready to buy.
To be successful, but it's not what you think they are, because like I say, this is not 1950s where the man have to go out here and bust his behind just to get to survive for his family. No, it's like take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
Because the family is always going to be there regardless. Because you can always adopt a kid if you don't want to have no kids, whatever you want to do, but just take care of yourself. And like you say, compromise with yourself. That's going to be the key word, because I felt that. Because if you don't compromise with your own self to say, hey, I know I can't do this, but I'm going to break a little leeway just to give myself a little break. Because it's like, it's so much happening in this world. A pandemic just happened. We're trying to pay bills. We're trying to be grown. Money ain't like it's just falling off trees yet. But it's just like, you got to get to that certain place in your mind where you're just like, I got a plan. I'm going to work my plan. I don't care what nobody else talking about. Because it's like a person the other day was talking about, I'm praying that God send you a wife. Why are you praying God send me a wife?
You need to be asking the Lord to send me that stimulus
whatever. But a wife, that's a whole commitment. I ain't ready for that.
Man, a wife is a whole commitment, baby. Because
Okay, so last takeaways from this topic before we get into what makes someone authentically natural.
Yes.
What are your takeaways, Cardell?
I think my takeaway would be that just take your time. Do what you do. Do what makes you feel happy and makes you feel successful.
Yeah.
And once you do that, you don't have to worry about nobody else what they're talking about, because people are always going to talk and give their perspective. But you just have to focus on what you feel like is in your alignment.
You better pray.
Thank you so much, sir.
Oh my God.
Jasmine, what are your takeaways?
So that was one of my takeaways. But my takeaway is just in general grace. Like, compromise with yourself, like Cardell said, and give yourself grace, and just know that you're probably not going to, you may or may not reach a certain age and get the goals that you set, and that is fine. You have one life to live it to the best of your ability. I'm not saying settle, just continue to work for it. And if you don't get it within that time, extend yourself grace and mercy. Like, you are fine. Think about what you're doing and live in the moment of what's taking place now. Because it's good in the moment. It is. You just got to find that good in the moment.
I feel like for me, it's be secure in yourself. I feel like that's a big thing for me right now. Yeah. Be secure in yourself, what you want. But also allow yourself the leeway to change your mind.
Ooh,
you know what I mean?
Because like,
the person I was at 18, 19 is completely different 10 years later.
Yes.
So I'm like, I have to keep in my mind that I'm allowed to make an educated change of my mind.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And when people want to come up to me and say, well, you changed your mind on this, you're right. And I did that because I have educated myself. I have changed my perspective, and I want to do something different.
I love that.
So that's my takeaway.
Oh, I love that.
And I feel like we are all authentically natural in this area because we were able to defy those like generational thought processes that were embedded in us at a young age.
Absolutely. And if you don't feel confident in yourself, thinking that you're authentically natural and who you are, remember it's a process, and that's okay. If you don't feel that way, work towards that. Eventually you'll get there. Because we're still working too. So, Cardell, is there anything else you want to say? Thank you so much for just contributing.
Coming in at the last minute. Thank you for coming in clutch.
No problem. One thing I would say is just doing an affirmation, because it's like saying stuff over yourself every single day makes a difference in your life, because it makes you understand who you are and where you're going. So just speaking on yourself, today I'm going to be successful. I am going and walking in my own path. I'm walking in the way that I need to walk. And just saying that every single day, you're going to be successful at any and everything that you do. No matter who's playing, it is. You're going to be successful.
You need to be a motivational speaker, because it's so important. Because if you keep telling yourself you ain't spit, you gonna feel that.
Okay, spit.
If you keep saying you're a bad person, you're a horrible person, you're like, my therapist told me, like, sometimes I'd be like, me and Kasey just joke when we say, oh, we crazy,
Oh,
we
crazy.
this.
Like, yeah.
But my therapist literally said, you have got to stop saying that. You have got to stop. And I was like, I didn't even think that was a huge thing, but we do manifest things over our lives. We do speak things to existence.
The power
of the tongue is real.
So, well, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the Authentically Naturale podcast. Be sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. All of that is linked below. Just talk to us a little bit about how you feel about the stressors. I don't know why that word has been like tongue-tying me all day. Of a timeline in the comment section below. Like she said earlier, our email is below. If you have something that you want to send us or talk to us about or pay us, that would be awesome. Here's our email. And thank you, Cardell, again for this interview. Don't forget to give us a big thumbs up and share this video with your family and friends.
Thank you. And officially signing off, Authentically Naturale, Kasey and Jasmine.
Okay, bye.